I don't know if you pray, but I do. And prayer to me is not religious or book driven or specific to a lot of the culture that we might have been raised with. Praying to me is direct interaction with whomever you believe God, creator, or whatever is. And in that vein, I believe so deeply in prayer and in God that to me, just the thought alone is your connection to creator. And so therefore, just thinking is thereby talking. And so I feel like I'm in constant dialogue with God. And and because of how consciousness works, because of how creativity works, and because of what that all implies as far as the imaginative process of thought, it's deep to me in that way that is my constant connection to God. Anyway, in my moment this morning, I explicitly prayed for safety. And I'm not like in imminent danger, or I certainly am not in the type of environment I grew up in. I live in a very peaceful place. I'm in a very peaceful space as far as what I'm doing and endeavoring out to do. But but there's a certain safety that I believe I need, and maybe you do too, and maybe we all do in some capacity, that I don't believe is really talked about, I think, in the way I'm about to talk about it. And before I expand on that in detail, the visual that I requested directly from God was to sort of wrap me in like a safety blanket, the way that you might envision a newborn is wrapped. When they're born, they come out the womb. There's a safety in wrapping the baby up real tight, which for me right now makes me feel claustrophobic if you did it as an adult. But as a baby, it's soothing, it's relaxing, it's kind of what they're accustomed to. And so my request directly to God was just just cloak me in safety today. And the safety that I seek is from myself, because the journey towards anything purposeful, however you define purposefulness, I'm not here to direct you into any sort of standard success metrics, to drill you with key performance indicators that imply you're doing something fantabulous with your life. I'm not really trying to do any of that specifically. What I'm saying is, if you're endeavoring out consciously, if you're working on yourself in some way, if you're striving towards something that spells out success for you in any capacity, then you know that there's an emotional aspect to this that's crazy, that is absolutely crazy. And what I mean by that is, as you really get into your spirit, that's what this is about. The spirited you. There's a connection that you begin to have emotionally that maybe you might have lost, maybe you've never discovered, or maybe you disregarded it purposely because of how it feels. But how I can explain this is, or at least try to explain this is, my emotions when I'm feeling high, when I'm feeling low, when I'm feeling mid, I am so tapped into them that it's it's really hard to wrap into context and words, but I feel it. I feel it immensely. I feel it deeply, and I feel it in a way that really is indescribable, other than I'm constantly in tune. And that constantly being in tune with your emotions, high, low, mid, wherever you are, is scary. It's scary. In this way, I have found that the reason I'm more connected to my emotional, spiritual self is because I'm endeavoring out to do something that I believe is purposeful. Hello, microphone. Hello, world. I think it's pretty obvious, at least in this context. But it's bigger than what the influence of this influential life could mean. It is the real and tangible chase of trying to define something that is massively emotional and scares the shit out of me. And maybe it scares you, or maybe I'm batshit crazy, but here I am. And so the safety, I think, that is paramount, and what I want to share that I'm looking for and what I ask God for ultimately comes down to safety from myself. Because during that emotional experience, when you achieve something and you get the small wins, the incremental wins, of course they feel great. But when you're low, or when things aren't going exactly, they tell you don't expect anything. But how could you not expect something? Like, I'm doing something. I'm trying to reap the benefits, rewards, and see results. Like anything, you measure. And sometimes when you measure, you're not quite as far along the journey as you might have hoped in varying ways, right? And do I think you should let it go? Yes. But also, you're working for something. And so when you hit that low, you sort of need safety from yourself because all the crazy talk starts, right? They're all laughing at you. And guess what? They're going to laugh at you anyway. They're going to laugh at you when you start something. They're going to laugh at you in the middle. They're going to laugh at you at the end, whether or not you achieve it. And mostly because they're laughing at themselves. And mostly because they need safety for themselves from themselves the way you do. But I digress from that point of view and perspective. There is a reality I'm learning that I want to share, that you can't become immune to the safety you need from telling yourself it's not going to work out. From telling yourself, I told you this is stupid. This is not worth it. This, just quit. That's the biggest thing. When you get into that low and you start to feel the sensation, that's what it is. The sensation of I want to quit. The sensation of I want to stop. The sensation of it's just easier if I just kind of lean back into what it was before. That feeling is in comparison to the feeling of, oh, this is great. Oh, I did what I said I was going to do. Oh, I've seen some success. This is great. This down here hurts. And you're going to find yourself in this space down here a lot more because the highs feel so high, you can't stay up there. And like any high you get, every time you achieve something for the first time, the second time, the third time, there's a level of, oh, I did it. Yeah, I'm the man. But you can't stay here. And you find yourself a lot more down here than up here. But there is the safety of, I have also realized that the longer I stay in my low, then it's inevitable that a breakthrough is coming. It's inevitable that the next high is going to be way higher than my last high. It's just to get through it. It's just to get through it is really difficult, and it's very emotional. So that's really what I wanted to convey. Don't be afraid to ask for safety from yourself. Don't be afraid to know that it's not quite going the way you thought it would, and it's okay. You're not being as effective, and it's okay. Or even though you're repeating a lot of the same processes that would deliver on your purposefulness, I almost said purposelessness, but even though you're delivering on on the habits that are required to achieve success, sometimes you need safety from yourself. Sometimes you need to wrap up in that blanket, kind of go into the womb, protect yourself from the shrapnel, from all the noise. And a lot of the noise and most of the noise is internal. And when you feel it, it's okay. At least I think it's okay. Or I think I'm convincing myself it's okay. Because otherwise, what's the alternative? Right? Find your purpose, find your safety, do what you got to do, change your mind, change your life. I am who I say I am. Do you and stay rich.